Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to show you this Valentine sampler I made. I drew it up myself and I want to take you guys on the journey of me drawing this up and sewing it and what kind of stitches I used and all the supplies I used. So if you're interested in making your own Valentine sampler, stay tuned. First of all, you'll need some fabric. I use 100% cotton. I normally buy Kona, K-O-N-A cotton. I can get that normally at Joann's or Hobby Lobby, or any fabric store should have it. But as long as it's 100% cotton, it should sew up really well. The embroidery stitches should look very nice on it. So first of all, you'll need that. Also, you'll need to some threads. I actually use these colors on my sampler, but you can use any color that you desire. Since it was Valentine's, of course, I had pinks and reds and white. I did use a little bit of green. So those are the colors I used. And what I did, I just used this tablet. This is a tablet I normally just grab when I'm trying to come up with an idea or a design or something. And this is how I actually came up with my Valentine sampler design. And this is the size I like to do it. Of course, it's going to end up a little bit smaller than this, but this tablet's a perfect size for me to just kind of get an idea of how I want to draw it up. So this is my little sampler. As I was drawing it up, of course, I erased it a few times, and I did change it up once it got on the fabric. But this is how it started. And then I made myself a template. I wanted it to be like 4.5 inches by 6.5 inches, and this is the square I ended up drawing on this piece of fabric. So I had to have a border, and I did that with a pen. This is erasable with heat. So once you get it all sewn up, you can just press it out or get a hair dryer, and all your markings will go away, and you won't see any of your markings on the fabric, which is really, really nice. So this is a must. You must have this. And you'll need a ruler. Actually, a longer ruler than this would be better, but this is the only thing I could find, so I'm going to use this today. And you'll need some needles, which I've already got my needles threaded over here in my pin cushion. So, and I've got my fabric already cut out here. So let's get to drawing. Clear off my space here. First thing I'm going to do is lay my fabric down, kind of eyeball the center here, and get my little template, which is going to be my square, my center, my outline of my sampler, and then I'm just going to use my pen here, and I'm just going to trace around. I use cardstock for my pattern template. It lays nice and flat. Okay, there's the center of this will be the center of my sampler. This is my border. Okay, I'm just going to kind of look at my design right here. And I just wrote Valentine Sampler. You can write anything you want to up there, but I freehanded. I did not use a template or anything like that to make my letters. So I'm just going to write it out. And this one's going to look a little bit different because you're doing it all by hand. That's what's going to make yours so special when you do it. So I wrote Valentine Sampler because that's what I wanted to name it. And this next line is a broken line. I'm just going to draw that out using my ruler. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And the next line, I'm just going to draw a solid line. And this is where the chain stitch is going to be going right here. And then I'm just going to skip down a little bit and draw another line. And then move it down just a tab and draw another broken line. Okay. Now right here is going to be where I put my little flowers. So what I'm going to do, and you can just eyeball this, just put a stem. Like I want a flower there. I want a flower here. And like I said, each one of these are going to be different because you're hand drawing it. But the results is still going to be beautiful. Okay, so this is where my flowers will go. Now the next stitch is a cross stitch. And what I basically did was I'm just going to draw a line. Move this down just a tab. And then I'm just going to go and put X's on here. Okay, the next line, well, actually it's not a line, these are woven roses with French knots in between. So what I use for this, and you can do it with anything as far as it's a circle, I actually have a ruler that has a template, actually, that has circles, and I use this, but as long as you can find something, or you can just freelance, free draw the circles yourself. So I just chose a circle I wanted. And went across and maybe several circles for my roses. And for the roses, you will have to put 5 lines. And I'll show you how to do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And do the rest just like that. Okay, there's my roses, and I'm going to put a dot in between each one of these, and that's where my French knots will go. All right, this next stitch is a fern stitch, and I'm just going to draw a straight line for that. Make sure you bring it down just a little bit from the roses up here because you're going to have a stitch that's going to go up this high. So you need some space to be able to sew that. So make sure you give yourself plenty of room. All right. And I basically went and just drew in my stitches like this, where I want them to be. Alrighty. Now the next is the hearts, and I just drew these without a pattern. I just did it just like that. Just take your time. Now see, I've got this one touching this line right here, but when you sew it, just make sure you don't bring it all the way to the heart. Or I can go erase this off, but I don't want to do it. I'll just fix it as I'm sewing it. So, and the next one is just a stitch, a running stitch, or is that a split stitch? Let me look at that. It looks like a split stitch, and then I've got the daisy stitch as the leaves. So since I'm freehand drawing this, you can tell this one is turning out a little bit larger than this one, which is fine. So I may be leaving off the X's and the O's here and the blanket stitch. So, but that's what makes everything so unique as you're drawing it out. You can change it up a little bit. And that's what I want to be doing, is changing this up a little bit. And you know what? I'm going to put one more heart here. Although this one has 4, this one's going to have 5. And these will be my daisy stitches. And I did end up having some room down here to do one more line. So what I'm going to do, I am going to put the X's and O's down here. And this is made with a straight stitch and a satin stitch. So the only thing I left off was the blanket stitch, and it's because, like I said, I made this a little bit larger because when you're drawing it freehand like that, it won't be the exact same, but it's still going to be a beautiful design. So there it is. So what next thing I'm going to do is show you each stitch. Okay, I've got my sampler in my hoop. I've got my threads right here, and I'm going to be sewing the outline, the border, and that's going to be a stem stitch I'm going to be using. You can start anywhere you want to. And I'm using 6 strands of thread. And you will continue all the way around until you get it done. Next, since I've already got my red threaded in my hand, I'm just going to go ahead and do the X's down here. And the X's are just a straight stitch. I'm using 6 strands of thread. Very easy to do. Just one long straight stitch. Just like that. Next is the word Valentine Sampler. I'm using my pink, and I'm using only 3 strands of thread. And you're just going to go, this is just a running thread, but I'm going to have them close together. So you just go in, back up, keep your stitches consistent as far as the width between the two, each one of them. And continue until you get the whole name, Valentine Sampler, stitched. A very easy stitch. Next, I'm using a darker pink, and I want to do this right here. This is also a running stitch. I'm using 6 strands of thread to do this. Just going to come up from the back with the thread, go back down. Come back up. Continue on all the way across, and this one down here will be the same. I'm going to work on the cross stitch now. I'm using 6 strands of thread. You're just going to make an X. and continue all the way across. Okay, next we're going to work on this line right here, which is this one right here, and it's the chain stitch. So I'm using 6 strands of thread. I'm using white. Just going to come up from the back, go back in exactly where you came up with the thread, push the needle right there back, exact same spot. Make a little loop. Then you're going to come up right there within that loop, like that. So you should have a little opening right here. So we're going to go right back down within that loop, right beside the thread that just came up right here. Pull it. Leave a loop. And I think my thread got knotted on the back. Pretty sure it did. Yep. Yeah, you got to be really careful, especially when you're using multiple threads, strands, like 6. You can have that happen. So now you're going to go back down in that little opening right there beside the thread that just came out. Pull. Have your little loop. And continue this all the way across. And you're going to do it here and here. Now we're going to work on the flower stem. This part right here. It's just going to be 1 stitch. I'm using 3 strands of thread, just like that. Then I'm going to do a daisy stitch right here. Bring the needle up right beside where your stem is. Bring the needle back in where you came up right there. Bring it out right here. Put it on the other side of this loop here. And you're going to do another daisy loop over here. you're going to continue all the way across. Next, we're going to work on the flowers, which are French knots. I'm doing it in red. 6 strands of thread. Continue all the way across. Next thing I'm going to show you guys how to do is the woven rose. I'm using 6 strands of thread. You're going to go up on the outside here. Go down the center right here. You're actually sewing on each one of these lines. Going to come up right here, right next to the center. Pull your thread through, go over this one, and go under this one. Since you went under that, you're going to go over this and under this one. Over this and under this. And you're going to continue all the way around, going over and under, over and under. And it's going to form this beautiful rose. And you're going to continue all the way across. I'm using white thread to make a French knot. A French knot's going to go in between each of these roses. I'm using 6 strands of thread. Go around twice. Next is the fern stitch. I'm using 6 strands of thread. Very easy stitch to do. It's just all straight stitches. Satin stitch. I'm using 6 strands of thread. You're just going to make lines side by side, following your outline of your circle. Get them as close together as you can. Going to do a split stitch. This is what this is, split stitch with some daisy stitches. I'm using green. I've got 6 strands of thread on here on this needle. You're going to bring your needle right in between those threads. That stitch, pull it through, bring it down again, right there. And continue this technique all the way across. Now we're going to do a daisy stitch right here. 6 strands of thread. And I'm using pink, or the dark pink for this. And you're going to continue all the way across. 3 strands of thread to sew a running stitch around the heart. Okay, you can leave these hearts plain, empty inside, or add some French knots. And that's what I did. I added some French knots to my red ones. So I'm just going to add a few French knots down here. Just to fill it in a little bit. Okay, I'm going to finish this later, but I just want to show you guys that it is going to look different from this one, of course. Like I said, you're drawing this by freehand, but that's what's going to make it so special. So I hope you guys try making your own Valentine sampler, or you can do something similar like this. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my video. Give me a thumbs up if you did. And y'all have a blessed day. All right, bye-bye now. And have fun doing this.